Boom! We're back, and we have the intro to the tournament series where my team took on a submission challenge. And of course, we're starting off hot with the channel favorite, Bath Salts Ben. Ben was the first match of the day, taking place in the Absolute Division, so weight classes didn't matter. He competed in 4 different divisions, so this was just the start of his entertaining day. And it doesn't take Ben too long to decide he wants to throw the entire match by going for his favorite takedown, the Fireman's Carry. By doing this, he put himself into a terrible position where his opponent was already throwing him into a triangle choke. As things were getting dark for Ben, he decided the only way out of this triangle was to roll forward. But the mats are only large enough for children, so he rolled off the mat and now he's having to fend off against an armbar. His opponent had it extremely tight and was bridging all the way to the ceiling. But he tapped into the bath salt's energy and he was able to turn his way out, definitely popping his arm in the process. Then he lets off his manly roar and escapes this terrible armbar. He finally shakes the arm free and now they can recenter on the mat. Say what you want about Ben, but he is definitely a warrior to let his arm completely pop just for the fame of a local tournament. Ben definitely should have tapped that armbar. You live a long life, so there's no reason to live it with permanent damage from a low stakes jiu-jitsu match. But that's not going to stop this from being an extremely entertaining video. And for every like I get on the video, that's one prayer for Ben's elbow. Now Ben's opponent knows that he's weak from that armbar, so he pulls guard trying to set up another attack. What he doesn't know is that Ben is a feisty animal, and the more danger he's in, the tougher he gets. Ben is utilizing a very strong crossface to apply pressure towards his opponent's neck. He's also trying to bring the knee up so he can knee slide across. His opponent makes a mistake by elevating the leg, which is going to help Ben slide through so he can pass right into side control, and he's working on his favorite submission. Ben has submitted many foes in his life with the leg and Americana, and he's hoping this opponent will be his next one. He's shoving the arm down and he's able to get his leg right over the wrist. This is looking dangerous for his opponent because he's starting to apply a ton of pressure as he's rotating the leg looking for the finish. But his opponent is able to squeeze his arm out and he takes the back of Ben until Ben can roll back into guard. And so everybody is clear on the rule set for this tournament. It is submission only. And this rule set is absolutely wonderful because there is so much action at the tournament. If nobody gets a submission the first 8 minutes, then they go to overtime where you can either sit in the armbar or take the back, and it's who can escape first. Ben is trying to pass the guard with his famous headlock pass, which I'm not a big fan of, because as we all know with Ben, he always gives his back to the opponent. But there's something to remember. This guy has never ever rolled with Ben, so he doesn't know this is part of Ben's game plan. His back defense is surprisingly strong. And compared to his last tournament video where he was competing in the Wipeout division with less talented people, he's now working against high-level blue belts. His opponent is controlling the arm, and this is a great technique because then he can start to climb the back. If you can get on Ben's back as he is now, then you can throw your hips forward. It's going to apply so much pressure to their hips that they're going to feel like they want to tap just to get out of this uncomfortable position. And this is where his opponent could improve. By throwing his hips forward onto Ben's lower back, this is going to expose Ben's neck so he could possibly set up a rear naked choke. And as Ben starts to knee pummel to free the hooks, his opponent turns him back over so he can keep control over Ben. At least for now. His opponent adjusts his legs and he's going over the head so he can start setting up another nasty armbar, but Ben rotates with him and frees the elbow, then just gives his back again. His opponent is relentless and he sets up another armbar, but Ben rotates with him and now he's on top, in guard, and he's trying to set up his own offense. But my god, do I wish he'd listen to at least one of us, because we keep saying to grab onto the underhook. Don't pass with the head because this is just exposing your back, and his opponent recognizes this is an easy way to take the back and start working on some more arm bars. I'm happy to report that Ben is somewhat listening to us by pushing against the leg. Fighting from turtle is definitely better than fighting with the hooks in because you don't have nearly as many threats to worry about. Ben's opponent is taking his time trying to see how he can break this shell, but he lets go of the body lock that he was holding on for a second, and this allows Ben to stand up. Then we have a wild exchange where they fall to the floor and Ben gives up his back again. Ben's opponent was definitely no slouch. He was constantly looking for threats and trying to take Ben out at any time that he could, but Ben's defense was just solid enough that he could have narrowly avoided all of these submission attempts. He was even able to fend off against the arm just long enough where he sensed freedom. Instead of going to guard like most people would, he decided to try and stand up once again, and his opponent lost all control as he went for the roll, and Ben flopped up on top of him, working into guard and avoiding another triangle attempt. We can see that his opponent's cardio was fading. He's been in the offense this entire time, but Ben shoves the legs by and now he's in side control, looking towards the guillotine wrap. It's tough to see what kind of grip Ben is using, but it doesn't look like the shallow grip, so he won't be able to threaten the choke nearly as well as he could have from here. If he could get the fist over the throat, he'd have some type of threat, but his opponent is doing a good job remaining calm and trying to dig inside for some frames. He's able to push the leg just enough that he can get into quarter guard, but Ben must have felt like he had a submission because he started going for the neck violently. He's driving his hips forward and his arms back, trying to force a crank onto his opponent. It's definitely not a choke, but it's a violent submission from Ben, so what else would we expect? Now, despite Ben throwing everything he has into this submission, it's not a real attempt. His opponent's able to weather the storm and then they wind up back in guard. Ben is keeping a low posture against our advice, trying to dig his hands in, looking for any way to break the legs open, but it's going to be tough to do unless you have strong posture. After they get recentered in the mat, they continue the same action from the same spot, but you have to remember they're running out of time. Since points aren't a factor, it looks like these two are going to head into overtime. Ben's opponent won rock, paper, scissors, so he gets the first choice, and he's going to start in the armbar. Ben is being cheeky, trying to give him his good arm, but his opponent is smart enough to remember that he popped the other one. I applaud Ben for the effort of trying to go for the good arm, but his opponent is smarter than that, and he takes the bad arm, looking for a clear advantage. From here, all Ben has to do is get out as fast as he can. The referee checks both of them, they start, and Ben is already rotating on top. He frees the elbow and he's able to escape the armbar in less than 5 seconds. Ben, for whatever reason, decides he wants to start in the armbar, and all he needs to do to win is to hold him at least for 5 seconds. He sets up the armbar exactly how he wants it, doesn't really listen to the coaches when we say to put your other arm through so he can grab the leg, and then he's ready to go. It all comes down to this to see who's the victor. The referee sets the timer, checks the competitors, and then you remember this is a Bath Salts Ben video. He immediately loses the armbar, kicks his opponent in the face by accident, and thinks the round is still going on, so he takes top side control. I don't think he understood how overtime worked, and I feel bad and I'm sorry for his opponent that he had to take that kick to the face. Ben lost a really close one for the first match of the day, but he wasn't done yet. He had plenty of matches to still go through, and great job by his opponent to secure the victory. If you don't want to miss any exciting tournament footage or what it's going to be like when I visit Vegas to train there, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Tons of great content is coming your way, so don't miss it. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Want to look great while you're doing jiu-jitsu? Then make sure to check out xmartial.com to get great gear like I have, so you can look stylish doing the sport, and you can save extra money by using promotion code Tyler10 on their website.